You were promised that spiritual awakening would bring you light, connection, peace, bliss. But if you're watching this, you know the truth they don't tell. The part where awakening feels less like enlightenment and more like losing your mind, where you're more depressed, more anxious, and more alone than ever before. This isn't the gentle sunrise you were sold. This is a shattering, a collapse. And here's what they won't say. This violent storm that's tearing down everything you thought you knew, it might be the most sacred thing that ever happens to you. They tell you you'll find yourself. But first, you have to watch yourself die, not metaphorically, not gently. You witness the complete disintegration of your identity, your beliefs, everything you built your life on. It feels like madness, like catastrophic failure, like you're broken beyond repair. But what if this destruction is the path itself? The spiritual marketplace promises light while staying silent on the brutal purification that comes first. Today, we're walking directly into that fire. We're naming the demons that haunt this path. We're validating the terror you've been told you shouldn't feel. This isn't about finding an easy way out. There isn't one. This is about understanding the sacred purpose of your suffering and realizing that this darkness isn't abandonment. It's initiation, the shattered promise, the eruption of the shadow. The journey often begins with profound disillusionment. The life you carefully built starts to feel false. Your job, your relationships, the roles you play. Suddenly, it's all a costume that doesn't fit anymore. You crave something real in a world that seems made of smoke and mirrors. This isn't just a bad mood. This is a crack in the foundation of your reality. And when that foundation breaks, you don't float gracefully into a higher dimension. You fall. You fall into the basement of your own consciousness, a place you didn't know existed. This is the realm of the shadow. Carl Jung called the shadow self the container for everything we've rejected about ourselves. Our fears, traumas, insecurities, rage, all the messy, inconvenient bits of humanity we've hidden to see acceptable. And a spiritual awakening, in its relentless pursuit of truth, forces this shadow into the light. It doesn't ask permission, it just erupts. Let me paint you a picture. You're lying in bed at 3 a.m. again. Your partner's asleep beside you, but you might as well be on different planets. Your mind is racing with questions that have no answers. What's the point? Why does any of this matter? 3 months ago, you had it together. Good job, solid relationship, weekend plans. Now, you can barely sit through a dinner party without feeling like you're suffocating. Your friends are talking about promotions and vacation plans, and all you can think is, how are they not seeing that none of this is real? You excuse yourself to the bathroom and stare at your reflection, and the person looking back is a stranger. Something inside you is dying, and you don't know if there's anything on the other side. This is why awakening so often feels like a psychological crisis. You're not suddenly becoming depressed or anxious. The depression and anxiety that were always there, buried deep down, are now erupting to the surface to be seen and felt. The awakening isn't creating the darkness, it's revealing it. You're not going mad. You're finally meeting the parts of yourself you spent a lifetime pretending weren't there. When the shadow erupts, it brings symptoms that feel both psychological and physical. This is the descent, a lonely, confusing, often terrifying pilgrimage through your own inner darkness. Let's pull these experiences into the open so you know you're not alone. Symptom 1. Existential depression and unshakable anxiety. This is maybe the most disorienting part. It's a depression that feels fundamentally different from clinical depression. It isn't born from your life circumstances, but from a profound existential crisis. You feel a deep, nagging sense of meaninglessness. Nothing matters anymore. The ambitions that once drove you seem hollow, and the very point of your existence comes into question. The anchor tethering you to reality has been cut. This dread brings intense anxiety, panic attacks, a constant feeling of doom, a nervous system that feels fried. This anxiety happens because the ego, the part of you that identifies with your name and story, is experiencing its own death. From the ego's perspective, this is a mortal threat. It fights for survival, and that fight manifests as fear, panic, and desperate attempts to regain control. You might feel horror when you look at the world, suddenly hyper-aware of suffering and illusion most people ignore. They talk about oneness, but they don't prepare you for the shock of feeling the world's pain as your own. This isn't you being negative. This isn't failure. This is your consciousness expanding, and yes, it's overwhelming. Symptom 2. The ache of alienation and profound loneliness. As your perception shifts, a canyon forms between you and the world you once knew. Conversations feel shallow. Social gatherings become unbearable. You're acutely sensitive to the energies in the room. You feel like a stranger in your own life, an actor going through motions in a play you no longer understand. You feel completely alone. Not because you're physically by yourself, but because no one seems to get what you're going through. When you try to explain it, you're met with blank stares, concern for your mental health, or advice to just be positive. This is heartbreaking, and it often leads you to withdraw even more. Friendships built on old foundations start to crumble. It's not a judgment on your friends or family. It's a reflection of your internal shift. Your values are changing, and your relationships are being tested. You may lose people, and it feels like another layer of loss in an already painful process. But here's the truth. This period of solitude is necessary incubation. The soul needs quiet to do its deepest work. It's in this aloneness that you finally learn to be your own companion. Now, let me ask you something. Have you felt it yet? That moment where you wonder if you took a wrong turn, where you think maybe you should have just stayed asleep, stayed comfortable, stayed in the matrix. Because what comes next is where it gets even more disorienting. Symptom 3. The existential abyss and the dark night of the soul. For some, the questioning intensifies into a full existential crisis. This is what 16th century mystic St. John of the Cross called the dark night of the soul. It's a period where you feel completely cut off from the divine, from God, from any sense of spiritual connection. Spiritual winter, where the soul feels barren, abandoned, lost in darkness. You're not just questioning the meaning of life, you feel the complete absence of it. A hollowing emptiness where all hope seems to have died. You might feel betrayed by the very source you were seeking. This is the death of the spiritual ego. In early awakening, it's easy to get attached to spiritual highs and insights. The dark night strips this final, subtle identity away. It dismantles any remaining attachment to spiritual experiences and forces you into complete surrender. Here, you are left with nothing. And this nothingness, this void, is the secret. It's the crucible of true transformation. Only when you've lost everything you thought you were, can you discover who you truly are. This void isn't empty, it's pregnant with potential. The dark night isn't punishment. It's purification by fire, burning away the last bits of the false self so the light of your true nature can finally shine through. Symptom 4. The body under siege, the physical toll. While the psychological struggles are intense, the impact on the physical body can be equally confusing. Important: if you're experiencing new or alarming physical symptoms, see a medical professional first. Rule out underlying health issues. Your physical health is paramount. That said, many people on this path report physical symptoms that coincide with their inner shifts. Symptoms doctors sometimes struggle to diagnose: sleep disruption, insomnia, waking repeatedly, often 3 to 5 a.m., or needing much more sleep. Body pain, unexplained muscle aches, joint pain, tension in neck and back as the body releases stored emotional trauma. Head pressure, strange sensations, tingling or buzzing at the crown. Digestive issues. The gut is highly sensitive to emotional shifts, bloating, appetite changes, food intolerances. Heightened senses. Lights brighter, sounds louder, smells more intense. If you've been medically cleared, know this: countless others report these experiences during deep transformation. Your body isn't failing you, it's recalibrating. It's processing the intense psychological work being done. Be gentle with it. Rest. Hydrate. Listen. We've walked through the fire. We've named the darkness and the pain. Now we arrive at the most crucial part, the reframe. This is where we learn to see the collapse not as a catastrophe, but as a sacred necessity. We're conditioned to see struggle as failure. So when your life unravels, the immediate thought is, "I've done something wrong." This is the great lie. Spiritual awakening is not about adding something new to you. It's about stripping away everything that is not you. Think of yourself as a stone statue that's been covered in mud over the years. Family conditioning, societal expectations, fears, limiting beliefs. You've become so identified with the mud that you believe it is you. The awakening process is a powerful chisel. It doesn't gently brush the dirt off. It violently chips away at the hardened layers. From the outside, it looks like the statue is being destroyed. But from the perspective of the soul, the true form is being revealed. Every loss, every tear, every moment of despair is the chisel at work. The end of a relationship based on old patterns isn't tragedy, it's liberation. The depression that forces you to withdraw from a false life isn't illness, it's medicine. The collapse you're experiencing is not the end of your life. It's the end of the illusion. Our instinct when faced with pain is to numb it, fix it, or run from it. But on this path, avoidance isn't an option. The very emotions you're trying to escape, the fear, the grief, the anger, are the gatekeepers to your liberation. The path forward is not to climb out of the underworld, but to walk through it with awareness and compassion. This means cultivating the courage to sit with your pain without judgment. It means allowing yourself to feel the full spectrum of your emotions without labeling them bad. When a wave of sadness arises, can you let it wash over you? When fear grips your heart, can you breathe into it and just feel the raw sensation? This practice of mindful presence is a radical act of self-love. It sends a message to the wounded parts of yourself that they're finally welcome and safe to be seen. This is the essence of shadow integration. Turning towards your shadow with love. As you do this, you'll find that the fear you were running from becomes courage. The grief you were avoiding becomes compassion. As you learn to walk this path of integration, something miraculous begins to happen. The chaos starts to quiet. The fog begins to lift. On the other side of all this deconstruction, a new self emerges. This self is quieter, more authentic, deeply grounded. It's no longer defined by external achievements or others' opinions. It finds its worth not in what it does, but in what it is. You'll find a new kind of joy, one that arises from deep peace. You'll experience profound empathy for others because you've walked through your own fire. Your desire will shift from wanting to get something from the world to wanting to give something back. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. You'll still have challenges, you'll still feel pain, but your relationship to pain will be forever changed. You'll no longer see it as an enemy, but as a teacher. You'll understand that every experience, light and dark, is part of the sacred dance of life. This journey through the dark side of awakening is the ultimate solo mission. You have to walk it alone because it's a journey into your own unique soul. But you don't have to feel alone while you walk it. If this video found you in your darkest hour, if it named something you thought you were alone in, that's not a coincidence. You were meant to hear this. Subscribe to this channel, because this is for those of us in the fire, the ones who aren't interested in spiritual bypassing or toxic positivity. We're here for the real work. And if you know someone lost in their own night, please send this to them, not as advice, as validation, as a mirror that says, you're not broken, you're transforming. Remember this, the collapse you feared is your liberation. The darkness is the holy ground where your true self is being reborn. The pain is not punishment, it's the labor pain of your own rebirth. Trust the process. Surrender to the unraveling. You are not falling apart, you are falling into place.